hi there, and welcome to Dinosaur Disco Disaster. Our story begins with our intrepid explorers driving along a dusty old road when they suddenly come across an enormous crater. The kids say, "Wow, let's go check it out." But their parents are worried that the crater may be dangerous. As they approach the edge of the crater, however, they find an old, rusted lunchbox. And being the ever-curious explorers that they are, the family decides to investigate inside. They find an enormous crystal, which immediately transports them back in time to the age of dinosaurs. The kids are ecstatic, but their parents are worried about getting stuck in the past. However, before they can fret too much about their predicament, the entire ground begins to shake as a T-Rex stomps by. Fortunately, this particular T-Rex is busy practicing dance moves for the annual Dino Dance-Off. And he is so engrossed in his practice routine that he doesn't even notice the explorers at all. As the T-Rex walks away, the kids, of course, want to follow him and try to get a closer look at this magnificent beast. Dad puts his foot down, though, and insists that they hide in the bushes until the coast is clear. Just then, the lunchbox AI pops out of its own accord and enters the explorers into the Dino Dance-Off competition. Now, whether or not they win or lose this competition will determine how long they remain trapped in the Jurassic Era. So it's up to the family to bring their A-game and leave their troubles back in the Cretaceous. Our heroes soon come across a lush clearing where the Dino Dance-Off is in full swing. All kinds of dinosaurs are here, from lumbering sauropods to vicious raptors, all busting a move and showing off their stuff. The first heat is about to begin, and some seriously funky dinos are hitting the dance floor. One dino dances while walking on its hind legs. Another does a little cha-cha with a cute dino chick, while a triceratops does what can only be described as the worm. But just as our heroes are about to relax and enjoy the show, the lunchbox AI reveals to them that they must now participate in the dance-off if they wish to return home. As the other dinosaurs are introduced one by one, we learn that the reigning dance champion is none other than Terry the T-Rex, who has won the competition every year for the past 5 years. This year, however, he's got some stiff competition in the form of a cool new dino in town called Rexy, a relative of Ankylosaurus. Terry is worried that after 5 years of winning, he might finally lose the championship to a rookie. So he spends most of his time practicing dance moves in secret, rather than participating in the festivities. He was so focused on his latest routine that he didn't even see the explorers enter the arena. But now that they're here, he knows he needs to step up his game if he wants to beat them. Our explorers are paired up against Rexy in the second heat of the competition. Mummy Explorer starts off a bit nervous, but soon she's all in, dancing away with her fun-loving partner, a goofy Parasaurolophus. Isn't that just adorable? Meanwhile, Daddy Explorer is paired with a velociraptor named V at first. He's terrified, but she reassures him that they'll do great as long as they trust each other. The crowd cheers as they perform a series of high kicks and daring lifts. But it's not enough to beat Rexy, who is dancing with a triceratops named Tina. Their final move consists of Rexy balancing Tina on his tail as they both spin around the room. The crowd goes wild, and although the explorers put up a valiant effort, they simply have to take a dino-sized bow and admit defeat. Not to worry though, even though they lost the competition, the annual Dino Dance-Off is known for being a dinosaur's holiday, and no one feels like leaving without first enjoying the fireworks display. But wait a second, isn't this supposed to be a horror movie? Why is everyone having fun? Well, it turns out that this light-hearted disco fever dream is nothing more than a figment of Terry the T-Rex's imagination. See, Terry is actually really shy and insecure, and spends most of his time worrying about what others think of him. In his mind, he lives in a world where all the dinosaurs wear bell-bottoms and platform shoes and dance all night long. Unfortunately, Terry is so caught up in his fantasy world that he doesn't realize the other dinosaurs are taunting him behind his back. They re-tired of him dominating the dance competition year after year, and they re-eager to see him fail. Suddenly, Terry wakes up from his daydream and realizes with a start that the second heat of the competition is about to begin. He nervously approaches the other competitors and introduces himself to his partners, a group of female triceratops. They're not exactly welcoming at first, but Terry's infectious enthusiasm eventually wins them over. Together, they bust out some fancy footwork and even manage to lift one of the triceratops onto Terry's tail. Just then, the familiar T-Rex theme song begins to blare through the speakers, and Terry finds himself overcome with confidence. He lets out a mighty roar and busts out some impressive moonwalking moves. The crowd cheers wildly, and Terry's partners show off some impressive aerial acrobatics as well. Unfortunately, Terry's moves prove to be a little too ambitious. His arms are much shorter than the other dinosaurs, so he struggles to keep his balance and accidentally knocks the Triceratops off his tail. Bouncing back, the other contestants seize their chance and execute their final dance move, a synchronized swimming routine. Terry watches in disbelief as they glide effortlessly across the dance floor, seemingly without a care in the world. He knows he and his partners don't stand a chance of winning at this point, but he still has one last trick up his sleeve. With a deep breath, he steadies himself and attempts a few more moonwalking moves. The crowd cheers him on, but Terry can tell that he's still struggling to stay upright. Just as he reaches the end of the dance floor, he loses his balance and falls face first into the water. The crowd gasps, but Terry quickly recovers and shakes off his embarrassment. To his surprise, the Triceratops rush over to help him up, and they all dance together as the music swells. Suddenly, Terry remembers why he loves dancing in the first place. It's not about winning or losing, it's about expressing himself and having fun. So, with a newfound sense of joy and abandon, Terry throws himself into the dance. He twirls and leaps and even manages a few more impressive moonwalks. The crowd cheers wildly and Terry's heart swells with happiness. It doesn't matter that he didn't win the competition. In that moment, Terry the T-Rex realizes that he has everything he could ever want, including a supportive group of friends and the courage to be himself. Now check out this Dinosaur Disco Disaster blooper reel or watch another adventure from the channel.